look at Mike. Okay. To talk about my video cut off or something yesterday. I probably was on here too long or taking too long to get my point across. I don't know what happened, but I'm back on here today because I just want to finish this and tell the story part of it. If I can. I don't know. If I could get it out, I'm going to get it out. So I think I was at the point of the story where um, I titled this sexual abuse, and I'm BBS Hair on YouTube. I am Fat Jamaica on Anchor. I do think it would be in my benefit to be more consistent and just be the exact same name on any social media that I have, but I just have not determined it yet. Like, I love BBS Hair, and I think BBS Hair is more appropriate for when I'm like doing hair stuff. Like, that it puts me in the mind that Fat Jamaica is just um, my nickname, so that's just kind of I use it. I went back to that nickname because it's just the space that I feel most comfortable, like to free myself about my childhood, just period, just help me be more free. But anyway, okay. So I was and I use part two. On this particular okay, see my connection is not good. Well, let me get to the point. So I think I started off telling y'all that um this family member that I love, when my cousin, we have been friends pretty much all my life since I was a little girl. And so she went over because the molester, she was, going through a lot and she wanted clarity. She wanted clarity. And she wanted to ask him face to face, why he had done some of the things he done to her, like molest her, and then she just wanted to, for some reason, have that conversation, like closure or something. Because she had been talking a lot about like she done talking to him, for life or whatever. And she had that last conversation with me, and I was like, yeah, I always wondered why you still talk to him, like cool, in a way of cool. And she was saying it's a part of the abuse, like you develop a relationship sometimes with your abuser, and it don't make sense to people who have not experienced that. And so she went over there to have a talk with him. And when she went over there, I remember her telling me she sat down at the table and she was talking to him, and then it got to the point where she was asking him, like, no, I was a little girl, why would you do that to me? And he got mad and he told her to leave. And she said by that time they get into a bad argument and they start arguing. And in the process of them arguing, um, she said he punched her. And she said he like punched her multiple times, like a man would fight a man. She said he punched her, and before she knew it, she was on the floor. And she said that he was stomping her. He had on like some work boots because he fished a lot and stuff. She said that he was stomping her. He was, yeah. She said that he was stomping her and just had been like literally beat her down to the floor. And I remember her saying this part. She was, let me see how to say. She had said Velvet because that's my name. She had said Velvet. You know how you was. I had kept telling her. So this, I kept telling her about this movie that I watched, but I was actually talking about myself, and I was telling her on Enough with Jennifer Lopez. It was a movie about Jennifer Lopez in an abusive relationship, and her husband was abusive, and he used to make her um, be like extremely organized. Now, what's crazy is when I was a certain point in my life, I used to be extremely organized like that. And I still love organization. But anyway, and there was a part in the movie where she was training to fight him back or something. And it said, and it was like a voiceover or something. And it said, just as sure as he's a coward, he gonna try to stump you when he think that you down. And she said, no lie. I used to always like, I was a homebody. I did nothing in my early 20s. Well, I'm not gonna say I did nothing. I spent a lot of time watching movies, wasting time watching movies, but raising children, but just a lot of time watching movies. So, um, and I was talking to her about this movie, and I remember that part just sticking in my head for some reason. And she said when she was on the floor in his kitchen and he had was beating on her and stomping her, she said when he raised his foot up to stump her, that popped in her head. She said that part that you said just as sure as he, because I was like, you gotta see this movie. And she said it came into her head just as sure as he's a coward. When he over you, he gonna, really try to destroy you or something. Like, I don't remember the exact words. Watch the movie. It's called Enough. So she said she don't know where she got the strength from. She said she started fighting her way up off the floor. She said that she grabbed his legs and fighting her way up off the floor, and to the point where she was up now. Like now they back up toe to toe fighting. And she said, now she I want to cut in and say this, interject right quick. She's known. Like I always say, there's an exception to every rule because men are naturally physically stronger than women. But there are times when you'll meet a woman that like could probably go toe to toe with some guys. Like she got a nice amount of strength for a woman, you know, and she's been known to be that woman. I remember her brother used to sometimes get into fights and arguments. People be like, "Hey man, you don't want? I'm gonna knock you out. Let me go get my look." He used to be like, "I'm gonna go get my sister," and have my sister put her hands on. Like I used to be a kid. Like this is true. So people know, like, nah, they done seen her whoop some dudes or whatever. So pretty strong, woman. And most of the women, and I notice in our family, it kind of like strong women. But anyway, this, yeah. So she said now they fighting. She said she punching him, hitting him so hard, she knocked him down to the floor. And she said she was on top of him, beating him like a gorilla. Like, and I telling me this, it got to some point, like I can never tell this story how she told it. See, that's the lost jewel in this story in particular right here. I can never capture it how she told it. She said, girl, I was beating him so bad. She said that his head, she said she was so like out of it and upset and crying and just so many emotions. It's the person that molested her. She said it got to a point where she was like literally hitting him left, right in his face. That he going side to side to side to side to side like that. And she said at some point she realized he wasn't even fighting her back no more. She didn't even realize that he wasn't fighting her back. She said it wanted to, she realized his head is loose. It's just going from left to right, left to right, left to right. Like come to a shock, like, oh, like she realized like he's not even fighting back. And she said fear kicked in, like, oh my God. Now at this point of the story, me and her talking, because she told me this story more than once. She told me over the phone and we talked about it face to face with her. Anyway, she did we talk about it face to face? Don't let me get caught up in it. Because me and her talk about everything so much so many times. Anyway, now at this point of the story, I can't remember exactly what happened from crying until I'm laughing so hard, y'all. I couldn't not breathe. So when she heard and do a skit on it, and it's so skit made me laugh. So I was laughing so fucking hard, y'all. She listening to me laugh so hard. She the true story. This happened. She started laughing and can't and now we both laughing so hard. We putting the phone down. We hollering. I'm on my floor, rolling in my living room on the carpet. She fell off her couch on her floor. She laughing so hard. She keep picking back up the phone, putting it back down. Can't breathe. We laugh. I cannot tell you how much time went by with us laughing. Listen. And then it got to the point where we kept laughing so hard. She said, "Girl, you are so crazy." She said, "I can't believe that I was just crying telling you this." She said, "But I kind of knew when I end up talking to you, you so silly." She said, "I knew at some point." She said, "I never imagined though that I would be laughing this hard at this situation." Like me, I'm the type when you tell me something, I start asking questions because I'm having visuals. So me, I start asking questions like, wait a minute, like so I get the backtracking in your story. Like how it just some kind of way. I wish I could remember it to tell it to y'all. But we laugh. When I tell you we laugh so hard to the point where we was laughing with tears. Like I had tears rolling down my face. She did. Let me tell you, but we'll keep busting out laughing, y'all. I don't know how long that went on between the two of us, where we just laughed. And then she said, let me tell you, she said, so I got scared after I beat the man up so bad. But now it lightened her mood. She said, I done beat the man up so bad. And I was like, he deserved that shit. You know, I'm there with it. So she like, girl, she said she funny, animated more than I am. She was like, so shit. I was like, pew. I was up out of there. She said she ran out the back door, running down the alley. She said she running down the alley. She like, wait a minute. I left my purse. So she said she hesitated. A man in the alley, she know he carry guns and he shoot guns or whatever. So she said she was like scared to go back, but she was like, well, dang, I gotta go back and get my purse and my keys. And then she was thinking like how bad it could turn if she go back and meet him and he got a gun and got the gun and shoot her or something. So she said she made the decision to go back. She said she went back. The man still knocked the fuck out of her. Okay. Uh, she said, girl, the man was out cold on the floor. You know, that's what we say, cold. I had a friend, didn't know what cold meant. She was like, Velvet, what is that? Cold blooded. I'm like, cold blooded? Girl, you ain't hip like that. Anyway, so she said the man was out on the floor. She grabbed her stuff and was finna leave. She said, and she was at the back door. She was like, what if he done? Like, I'm dead. I'm going to jail or something. So she was like, let me check it. Maybe I should call the ambulance. She said so many thoughts running through her head. Maybe I should call the police for help. But then it's like she had that moment where she realized, like, this is not a good person. This person, you trying to reform him and trying to get him to see what he done to you. He don't care. He gonna do it to the next person if he can. If he dating a lady and bring her children around or something like that, he's sick. He's sick. He's sick. Like, I don't know what's the solution for sick people like that. So she said she checked his pulse because she went to like not exactly nursing school but CNA or some other type of trade that she took. So she said I checked his pulse and he was still alive. And she said, "Girl, I booked." That's the word. I booked up out of there, you know. And so we just laughed some more about it. And I was like, "Nah, I hope you don't feel bad." I was like, "That's what that motherfucker get, you know." And I remember her telling me she saw a lady, because that's like the hood that we from. So she got friends and people over there that used to go over there. And she's no longer, she passes or whatever, but she was saying, telling me that she saw a lady with a child that looked like she was dating him one day. She rode past her. And she said that she debated about talking and telling. She said, so she called the lady one day outside and said, "Ma'am, you taking your child in there. I've been knowing that man all my life. He is a molester and he molested me. And not only me, I heard he molested multiple people. I heard so many stories. He molested his daughter. She was just saying, all of that to the lady, and she was like, the lady was seeming not to even believe her. So I'll never forget that. So that's the revenge on the predator, that she went over there and really to talk. She said she did not come um to fight. She came to try to get a resolution. She was thinking that she could talk to him for some reason. She said, but in that moment, like, she got clear. Like, after that, and they, I don't know if something, he tried to call her or something, but he tried to call and go off on. He called her or something, went off on her, something like that happened. But they never talked again. And I was like, "Do you want to talk to him?" She was like, "It was a part of me." She was like, I believe she said she was happy that that had happened, or not necessarily happy. I don't think she used the word relieved in some way. I know for sure was not how she used to speak of him, because she always how, from what I heard, that's how they do. And oh yeah, as a child about sexuality in that way of an experience. And so I got that out. That's that about sexual abuse, and what I would want to add to that. And like I said, I'm gonna put this disclaimer on there, though I don't like some things are common sense, but you get into arguments or disputes with people because they assume if you don't speak certain things, you don't have the knowledge of it or lack thereof or something. So one thing I feel like is helpful when it comes to people that sexually abuse or attempt to sexually abuse children. I think it's key that the child learn that it's a time to maybe be aggressive. And how I can explain that is, um, which would make better sense if someone is attacking you to fight back. Let's see if I could bring this around for a circle.